time for some Q&A. We're at a really nice place. It's called Adra and it has good lighting, and Luna's right there. Hi. And we're gonna do a little Q&A with you guys. So I received some questions. I put out to ask questions and I received some, and I'm gonna answer some of them for you. So the first question I got was, am I going to teach Luna Spanish and English? And I was actually speaking Spanish to Luna more because we're like close to the same level. But then I visited a friend of mine, and her daughter was born in Mexico. She's from England. She speaks both pretty fluently, and she was talking to her kid in Spanish all the time, so her first language is Spanish. And that's fine, but now she has a 3-year-old that's trying to learn English, and she just told me, you gotta speak to her in English. So I actually talk to Luna in English as much as possible because Lucia, who's with her half the time, speaks to her in Spanish all the time. And everything is Spanish here. So she's actually already bilingual. She knows half the words that she says. She says, otro puta, which we're trying to turn into Buddha. Buddha. Calle. What else do you say? Adios. Adios. Hola, all in English or in Spanish. In English, she says bye bye and hi, and she says mama and Luna. 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 What else can she say? She said Poppy for the first time the other day, and she also says Jesus. She got that from me because I'm like, damn, Jesus. So she has one swear word in Spanish and one in English. That's where we're at so far. I plan on putting her in Spanish school, not English, but to be honest, I could probably homeschool this to her till like high school if I wanted to. So my next question, what do I got here? Why did I choose to raise my kid in Guatemala instead of Canada? Now we all know Canada's a really great country. It's super bitchy. It's like one of the best Western countries. The people are cool. The healthcare is free. I mean, it's a stunner too of a country. So there's that. So why here and not there? A lot of reasons. First, my kid's Latina, which doesn't really, she looks super foreign here, but at home she's Latina, she's different. I'm already living here. I was pretty detached from Canada. Like, I don't have a job there anymore. And if I wanted to be a single mom in Canada, I would have had to move back there and would be working all of the time, 80 hours a week to scrape by. We'd have some shitty, 1-bedroom apartment in a bad part of town. I'd be living in Toronto because it's the only place where I have people. I would be paying all of my money out to childcare, and I would never see my kid. And I just was like, I can't have that lifestyle. Living here, I have 3 jobs here. I work half the day at a cafe. I come home for lunch every day. I have full-time childcare. I can afford all that. And I live on about 1/3 of what I would need in Canada, and I have a much better life. The quality of our life is exponentially better. I'm terrified of what my life would be like as a single mom in Canada, especially Toronto. And I just have more help here. And it's scary because my family lives there, but my family are doing the same thing I would be doing there, which is working all the time to pay for their kids. Here, there's more kids too, like a lot more. Like everybody's got like 4. It's funny, I have 1 and I feel like it's a lot, but I constantly am like, I need to have more for Luna. That's the thing. I could actually have another kid and still live a good life here by myself. I can't even imagine the horror that is single momming to 2 kids. Kudos to the women that can do that in Canada. Kudos to any parent in Canada, because that struggle is hella real. And I just didn't want it, and that's why I'm here. Here's a juicy one. I don't know if you can hear me over the wind, but the question is, why did you choose to birth in Mexico instead of Canada? That's a very good question. A lot of people ask me that, especially Canadians, because as you know, it's free to give birth in Canada. So why would I go to Mexico and pay when I could go to Canada and do it for free? And the short answer is I actually So at 5 months pregnant, I started to look into the option of potentially birthing in Canada. And when I went to Canada, I was told I was not going to be able to get a midwife because there was long wait lists, and that my doctor, who's fantastic at Women's College, offered to get me a really good doctor, but I would be birthing in a hospital. I was petrified of hospitals. I am petrified of the hospitals making decisions for my body. I really didn't want to do that. I also would have been birthing in November, which is winter time. I don't even have winter clothes. And then I thought, well, I'll have to stay for December and January most likely, and like buying all that winter clothes that I wouldn't be using again. I mean, that's a huge investment. Winter clothes are very expensive if you want to get some good stuff. And it just seemed like it was going to be an exorbitant cost. Plus, even though healthcare is free in Canada, it's still not free. Some of the tests that I was recommended, they were like $800, and they're way cheaper here, even with healthcare being expensive here. So I looked into Chiapas, Mexico. Mexico is internationally known for its midwifery, so it is a great place to have a baby. It's just over 1,000 Canadian for my midwife and everything, and then it was 1,000 American for the best surgeon in town. And I had other options that were cheaper, but I had the more you pay, the more choice you get. So I got a lot of choices with my doctor. I got to keep the cord attached. She didn't give me one medication until the placenta was out because I planned on eating it. They were just really wonderful. I stayed overnight. They were so wonderful with me. They fed me only natural fruit. I mean, I just felt really taken care of in a private hospital for the low price of $1,000 American, which you can put on a credit card, and they actually let me pay cash. In Canada, I also chose to have a C-section after birthing for 24 hours. We called the doctor, and I made the elective decision. She said that it was safe for me to do it, and I did it. In Canada, I would have had to sit and emerge until it was an emergency, or they would have induced labor, and I wouldn't have had a midwife to begin with. So I just had a lot more power, and it was affordable. And I really trust the Mexican system. I love their system. Like I said, they're internationally known for midwifery, and I felt like I was in really good hands. In Canada, I felt more like I was in a system. So that's that answer. Man, this is like the hard-hitting questions. Okay, so my next question that I got is, what if I met somebody and got into a relationship? How would that fit into my single mom life? So my answer to that is this. I'm gonna walk and talk. My answer to that is this. I do date. I have been dating. I get asked out all the time. I'm a good-looking single mom with a great job and a good sense of humor. I get asked out every day. To be honest, I just don't care. I don't care about dating right now. I care about being with my daughter. There's a couple of great dates I've been asked on, and I want to go on them. I just don't really have time, and I think it's just not a priority to me because Luna is my main priority. I actually have taken her on a few dates because I feel like if you want to date me, you might as well just meet my kid up front. If they're weird around her, I just don't go again, which has only happened once. I did date somebody briefly, and he was just incorporated in our lives from the beginning. To be honest, if Luna's going to have a dad, she's going to pick that man for herself. It doesn't have anything to do with who I date. They're separate. Okay, so here's one that I actually don't get that much, but I thought I would answer it. Does Luna have a dad? No, she doesn't. It's 2017. She was born without a father. She has me. I definitely make up for it, and she's got a lot of love in her life. She has a biological donor, and that's it. It's always been me, and it's always going to be me. She doesn't have a dad. Okay, here's the final question. Where are we traveling next, and why? We are going to Nicaragua, and we're going next week. We're going to an island called Ometepe, where I used to live. We're going to stay on a tantric community called Inanita for the first week, where I also used to live. We're going to live in a tent, and I'm going there because I love that place. It's a very special place in my heart, and I really want to introduce my daughter to it. And that's why we're going there, and we're going to be there for a while. I cannot wait to decompress, get healthy eating, healthy living, back to my roots, back to what matters, and to show Luna a really natural outdoor life.